Come on. You don't want that. What you're saying is, and you have to, I think people have to be sure or certain that I don't want to be a cleaning lady. If I wanted to be a cleaning lady, I would have been one. Come on. Let's be serious. What you're really looking to say is, man, I really miss this simple life when I was just doing whatever. But also too, I think people forget about what they wanted when they had the simple life. And you say, "Oh man, I wish I were to go back to the simple life." Do you? Do you wish you would have gone back to the simple life? I don't think you would like it. I think that, there's so many ways that you can exit or get off the map, fly to Puerto Rico or go to Mexico or whatever you do and just live off the grid where nobody knows where you are. You know what I mean? But and not to say that, nobody knows who she is down there, but the way in which you go down there, you exit or whatever, just to get out of the spotlight. But I think you sort of misrepresent how you would feel. I think that you would get there and you would feel empty. I think acting and singing and creating is your calling. It's just that maybe you weren't able to navigate it in the way that you wanted to successfully navigate it is the problem. So I think we need a proper balance.
Guess I'll settle for what I am. Say, would you like a drink?
No.
Sure. Oh, come on, have a little.
Late in the interview, Marilyn began drinking champagne, and the more she drank, the more angry and defensive she became. She spilled out all the hurt over her treatment by Hollywood during 15 years in the movies. To me, she was like a record stuck in a groove. She felt they had never treated her like a star.
There it is.
Her anger really flashed when I asked her, very innocently, I thought, how she cranked herself up for her acting role. The business of here we go. You cranking yourself up to be up before the camera is part of what you're doing.
I don't crank anything. I'm not a Model T.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't crank. I don't know, but I think that's kind of disrespectful to kind of refer to it that way. We are not machines, no matter how much they want to say we are not. I want to be an artist, an actress with integrity. When I'm older, then I'll play other kinds of parts. My teacher, Lee Strasberg, always said to me, I said, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm a little nervous. He says, when you're not, give up. Because nervousness indicates sensitivity. I guess I think just go out there, that's all we do. You go out there and do it. But it's a real struggle. I mean, I really have to struggle. You've read there was some actor that once said about me that kissing me was like kissing Hitler. Well, I think that's, his problem. And if I really have to do intimate love scenes with an individual who really has these kind of feelings towards me, then my fantasy can come into play. In other words, out with him, in with somebody else. There's somebody else there.
The constant barrage of criticism is what's taking her down. The constant barrage of being just like beat over the head, like emotionally, and paired with the fact that you are making me feel like I am a robot. I have no say. That's why she said, I think in the last interview, well, the studio wants it that way. And so I got to go with what the studio wants. You talk to me like a machine, or you make me feel like a machine, even though I'm not. No matter how hard I kick, I wonder what her contract looked like at her passing. Because I'll be honest with you, man, Some of these things are just downright rude. Um, they're just downright harsh things to say to people or say about people. Like, why would you describe me like that? And I just think that people don't care sometimes. They really don't care about how they're hurting people, about how they're really destroying and tearing people down. And they call it honesty, but it's really not honesty. I'm just being honest. It's not honesty, it's disrespect. I don't know if she had a problem with the Model T Ford kind of deal. Because I think essentially that's what she's describing. Like you're cranking yourself, or you're preparing yourself, or you're coaching yourself up. I think would have been better language to say that to perform in these movies. That's what you're doing. Essentially, if you're telling me that you hate the industry, you don't like it, then that means that you don't want to get away from it. You still want to make the money, but now you have to coach yourself up and push yourself to do that. So I mean, that's essentially what it is.
Not him. He was never there. I think that public would get quite disillusioned the way the industry treats its stars. I remember when I got the card in Gentlemen for Blondes, Jane was who? She was the brunette in it, and I was the blonde. She got $200,000 for it, and I got my $500 a week. But to me, that was considerable. But the only thing was, I couldn't get a dressing room. I said, I really got to this kind of a level. I said to them, look, after all, I am the blonde, and it is gentlemen prefer blondes. Because they always kept saying, remember, you're not a star. I said, well, whatever I am, I'm the blonde. I mean, it got to that. But yeah, I start to sound paranoid or something. And I don't think I am. I think that every weakness is exaggerated. A lot of people have real quirky problems. They wouldn't dare have anyone know. Because one of my problems is that I'm late. One of the reasons I guess they think that why I'm late, they have to do with some kind of arrogance. And I think it's the opposite of arrogance, just as a starter. Let's start with that. It's the opposite. I mean, the things they send out about me from this corporation over here, we'll leave nameless.
Huh.
And I've never lost sight of the fact that I am not at a studio at any time for discipline.
But see, that's what I'm saying, man. You say you want to be a cleaning lady, but you know your role in society well enough to know that, hey, man, look, I'm a blonde. I'm a blonde for a reason. I'm a blonde because I'm expecting the same respect that I perceive that blondes get to come to me in any case. So I expect a sort of deference that goes to blondes. And so essentially what you're telling me is that you've done everything that you can do in order to receive a certain kind of treatment, not like a cleaning lady, but of a star. That's what you're wanting. So there's no way that you could go back to being a cleaning lady. You absolutely can't. You're wanting to be a star, but you're wanting proper respect the proper respect that you perceive comes with being a star. And that's, give me respect, give me 50 feet, give me some space. Let me get through my hustle and bustle without any problems. But the fact of the matter is, when you think of yourself as a star, when you're a blonde star like yourself, people don't always react like you expect them to. That's just what it is.
Or to be disciplined. If you have a cold, how dare you have a cold? I mean, the executives can get cold and stay home for, forever and phone it in. But how dare you get a cold?
Marilyn refused to acknowledge any responsibility for missing so many days on the set at Fox. She claimed she was sick, but the studio just didn't believe her. And in the midst of it all, Marilyn took off 2 more days to travel from Hollywood to New York to sing Happy Birthday to President Kennedy, whom she spoke of rather coyly, I thought, as a complete stranger.
I was honored when they asked me to appear at Madison Square Garden.
That was defiance. She was basically like, what are you going to do about it? I don't show up to set. What are you going to do about it? You don't respect me anyway. Who cares?
Business hat there is no one female. And that's so much. So I've done more. Let
It was like a hush, in the whole place. Which, I thought, oh my God. If I'd been wearing a slip, I would have thought to be showing or something.
the late Marilyn Monroe.
There was kind of this hush quiet. I thought, oh my God, what if no sound comes out? And then you think, my God, I'll sing this song if it's the last thing I'll ever do. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Happy birthday to you.
I can now retire from politics after having had the happy birthday sung to me in such a sweet, open way. Did you meet Kennedy?
Afterwards, they had some kind of a reception because I never did see the food. But maybe that was in another part of the play. And I had met the Attorney General briefly. So it was good to see a, smiling, friendly face.
Less than 3 weeks later, Marilyn was fired from Something's Gotta Give. To Fox, Madison Square Garden was the last straw. She had been absent 21 of 33 shooting days, and to them, she was obviously unstable and falling apart. Marilyn was exhausted. She had drunk a full bottle of champagne, and she had barely eaten anything. And she continued to paint herself as the victim.
Fame is also a burden. An industry, I don't think, should behave like, let's say, a mother whose child maybe has, let's just say the worst is run out in front of a car. So what do they do with the child? But instead of clasping the child to them, they start beating up on the child. They feel that it gives them some kind of a privilege to walk up to you and say anything to you. So at least it's something that, let's say, I experienced. So it's not just that okay, fame will go by. So long I've had you, fame. If it goes by, I told you it was fickle.
Well, no, it's not fickle. It's not fickle because you're trying to demand your respect, and this is a way that you think that you're big enough to demand it, but they basically say we're gonna find somebody else to replace you, and that's really what she was challenging. Oh, if I do this, you're gonna fire me, because after all I've done for you, you're gonna fire me. Um, And I guess in some way her point was that it's fickle maybe in terms of, you know, how you treat people. Maybe not fame, but you guys, how you treat people. I'm good today. The next day I'm not, today. And, I'm the bombshell blonde that, everybody loves. But, you know, tomorrow you're bringing some other person on set that you're trying to promote over me, and you won't even give me a break, but you're giving her more respect than I am. So she's kind of trying to stand and hold her ground is what she's doing.
I don't know if this is going to come off on tape, but I know what I mean.
It's just great.
Well, I hope we got something here.
Okay.
But please don't make me look like a joke.
See. So on the last interview, that's what I was wondering, if she's trying to be serious and you guys are, because I laugh, because I hee and ha ha, do you guys really take me seriously? But I don't know, man. I really don't know what to think, because this is how you played your cards up to this. This is what you got you fame, sort of like the ditzy, but now you're trying to transition into a more logical, intelligent being or creative. And they see you as like this, ditzy blonde who, she's just full of jokes and humor. We don't really take any of her ideas. And so as a studio or as anybody in general, we just kind of, write her off as in this box. And that can be frustrating, you know, but that image worked for a while, but now it's not. What do you do? How do you turn it around?
Those were the last words she said to me. I said goodbye, and as I walked down the driveway, I looked back for a second. Marilyn was framed in the door, and she waved and called, "Hey, thanks." I went back to New York and wrote the piece, and it appeared in Life magazine in the August 3rd issue. On August 5th, the phone rang. It was a reporter telling me that Marilyn was dead. I was dumbfounded. Marilyn had obviously been a woman in pain, but I never saw any sign that this was a woman giving her last interview, a woman on the verge of 30 years that have passed since then. I've listened to those tapes a dozen times to see if I somehow missed some clues. I still don't know the answer.
Miss Monroe has suffered from psychiatric disturbance for a long time. Mood changes were abrupt and unpredictable. In our investigation, we have learned that Miss Monroe had often expressed wishes to do, even to, on more than one occasion in the past, when disappointed and depressed, she had made a attempt using sedative. On the basis of all the information obtained, it is our opinion that the case is a probable.
Marilyn Monroe, Hollywood's most flamboyant blonde since Jean Harlow, went to her tomb in a plain dress today, following simple funeral services attended by only a handful of friends and relatives. Marilyn's body was dressed in a plain green dress of a light shade, which she obtained in Florence, Italy. She lay in solid bronze casket, lined with champagne-colored velvet. Marilyn Monroe has found surcease from the many personal sorrows that afflicted her life, both private and public. Her resting place, not too far from the movie mills where she began her meteoric rise to stardom.
And it's crazy because if you knew that she was struggling with that stuff, like it's just kind of like, why don't you take it easy? Why don't you back off? But people need their pictures. They got to have their pictures. They got to have their stories. Like, they watch you have a meltdown and they write a story about it and they sell it, and they come back for more. And I don't know, man, you just have to protect your peace. Sometimes you got to stay inside. And even with the studio, it's kind of like you got yourself into it. So I got to keep making this money in order to pay for this house in Brentwood. But I wish I could do something else. I wish something else could pop off so I could continue to live this lifestyle of the rich and famous without having to give up anything. But I don't want to continue to do what I'm doing. I don't want to continue to have to act like I'm acting. I'm tired of that part of my life. And I think that's where she was. But I think what it sounds like is that people, kind of drove her to the edge, is what it sounds like. So that's the issue with hiding and masking things, is because eventually it's going to come out one way or the other. So that's my take. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And until next video, take it easy.